Okay, we're up to the early July finance meeting. Start off as 016, apologies for absence.
Apologies have been received and accepted from Councillor Mark Murfitt.
Thank you. And then 17, declarations of interest. Do we have any?
No.
Resolved to approve as a correct record the notes of the meeting of the Finance Committee held on the 6th of June and to authorise the Chair to sign the official minutes. That's number 18. We have a proposal in the second process. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Didn't see that bit. Oh.
Oh, yeah, and just initial. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 19, transactions for payment. To resolve to recommend the full council clears to payments due for tuning invoices and to review 10 invoices at random to ensure transparency.
So I was going to show you the invoices.
I know you were, yeah. No, I left my iPad at home, so I can't see them. Anybody want to choose any?
Yeah, can I do LD Conway for brass memorial plaques?
That is right. They were bought off of Amazon, and they are for the memorial plaques at Aldgate. Thank you. Yeah. For some reason. £35.94.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The top one, Amazon CRRE cable.
Okay, credit.
How much is that for?
It's a credit note for £10.35.
Ah, £10.34 credit. That is for, you know, the lead for Karen's monitor.
Send it
Yeah,
back
it
because
worked.
it didn't
Yeah,
work
so
on when you did
that
it.
is, yeah, so that is £10.34.
Yeah. Take it a bit.
In fact, to be totally transparent, when the credit came through on the Barclays card, it came down to £10.35.
Oh.
So I obviously left the VAT exactly as it is on the invoice, but just changed it by a penny because to try and sort out an extra penny was very difficult.
Crusader Traffic, the traffic management for the Jubilee.
So Crusader Traffic is a part payment for the Jubilee, because they've only sent us through part of it at the moment.
So are we paying that and then we've received the money from...
We've already
distress?
received the money,
Yeah,
yeah, so that's in our ring fence funds. Oh, there we go. Yep.
Good.
Oh, Binns Park Road, that's... Oh, no, well, that is Ballast anyway.
That's green zone.
Yeah.
We have got a credit note as well because they had a bit of a, I don't know what you call it, but anyway, they bins didn't get collected 1 week at all, so they wanted to collect them the following week on the Thursday and then do the programmed collection on the Friday. And I said it was no point in us paying for 2 collections a day apart, so I asked them to credit, so we got back one lot of collection for both sides.
Yep.
Pin for toe ball.
Sorry?
Pin for
Oh,
toe ball.
Tobal. Who's the
Chandler's already.
Right.
Chandler's.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
So when we bought the new trailer, we needed a tow ball for the Kubota, but the type of tow ball it wasn't possible to order online because you had to literally take the hitch bit in
Yeah.
and match it up in the shop. That's why it came from Chandler's. There it is, pin for the tow ball.
Yeah.
That's 5.
The struggle, isn't it?
Because the problem is, it says what they all are now with the Realtas reports.
It
doesn't
does.
Like
Yeah.
you get so much more detail. It's like, oh,
I mean, look at the one-stop one.
Mm-hmm. Should be there somewhere. So that was stamps.
24 second floor stamps.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in the wrong place anyway.
We've got an item for Tomwood, and I presume it's the amount that's sort of gone underneath into the next page, 15,
Oh yeah, hose repair.
1502.
Yeah, £16.49.
Hose lock.
Oh, yeah.
The hose that was in Cautious Park appeared to have been damaged many times and just
It's like a suit, isn't it?
Yeah,
so that's what they got.
yeah,
Mhm.
What's South Holland District Council 10's car show?
Yeah, that's the application, that's very good, there it is. It's the temporary events notice, that's the liquor licence for the car show,
Thank you.
which we've now got. So I'll just get everything in the right place. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more.
To do that Shenzhen.
Yeah.
Whoever Shenzhen is.
It's from China, isn't it?
This is.
Shenzhen.
I can't remember what that's for actually.
You've got cable from monitor and then HDMI cable return.
Yeah, I think that's what it was the
That might be classed as two.
correct one. The correct HDMI. Is it the £34 one?
1601.
It's from Amazon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've
From
got
Amazon,
£35.99 and then a credit of £19.98.
Yeah, so £35.99 and then the credit, it's for HDMI cable. So yes, it is from Amazon, but when you get them through, sometimes actually supplied by someone else.
It takes a month for them to come.
One more then.
One more.
Vodafone SIM for digital screen.
Oh, I know what that
Right,
is.
now, we don't actually have a ticket for that because we
Don't
paid
we?
for it online and it didn't come
Did it
through.
not?
No.
But that's for
For the
last month's anyway, isn't it?
It's digital
Yeah.
screen, so we do
Yeah.
have, we can look it up online. but
Yeah.
We can't, they didn't send through a ticket. did
Can
they?
we print anything off from the
I
account?
don't think so, but I think we can.
We do
so
a
we
print,
have to
just print
approve
screen.
it. Yeah.
Because we won't be using that account anymore because we've now got the other ones. So.
Yeah. Okay.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Thank you very much.
On the post.
Seconded.
Oops. Sorry.
Item 20, financial statement. She was also recommended full council to approve the financial statement as of the 30th of June 2022.
We have 3,000.
Yeah.
Sorry, 29th of June.
Yeah.
And 16,344.80.
Yeah.
16,344.80 and 281,950.25. 281,950.25.
Top job. Thank you very much. We need to vote on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Item 21, review of outstanding receipts and monthly budget review.
So, the, on the, do you want me to run through the outstanding?
Yes, please.
So on the, allotments, I'm a bit away from the camera. On the allotments, the bulk of it's owed by one person who did send through, and did come into the office and send through. On their account system, it shows as being paid, so they were checking with their bank because as well it shows it's gone from their bank.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, apparently.
But it hasn't
So-
arrived
but it
with us.
hasn't arrived with us, so that's who I was trying to phone just now,
Yeah.
so. And the other two, I will chase again, they have had,
Yeah, because one of
That's
them's just been
just
16p
yeah,
extra,
one,
isn't it?
yeah, they never, I've got to ask them, it's not worth writing to them for 16p, but
It
next
costs more than
time,
a stamp, won't it?
it's cost more than stamp, but the
Yeah.
next time, so in October, I'm going to ask them to make sure they please pay, because they always either overpay a little bit or underpay a little bit.
And then it causes problems.
It
'cause
causes
it's
problems with the
constantly going up.
accounting system, so, yeah,
Okay.
so that's,
And then we've got one at Northern's Lane?
yeah, one at Northern's Lane who, yeah, always pays late, always takes a little bit of a nudge. to
Haven't
pay.
they also got one at Battlefields or not anymore? Or is that not been billed? Because when did the Battlefields rents go?
No, Battlefield's only is October.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
was just wondering why,
Yeah.
because I thought they had one there as well.
And, right, so,
Just before we get to budgets, I know I brought it up last time about the allotments, because we were going to measure them, weren't we? And all the open spaces, we were going to measure them and look at doing proper sized plots for, has anything been done, do we know?
The problem was, when they did the allotment inspection, being able to tell where one plot ends and one plot starts is very difficult. And especially with some of them, because they're farming, they've got several plots,
Yeah,
they're farming it all as one.
yeah.
You don't know
But that's
where
not,
the plots are.
that wouldn't be an allotment lease, though, would it? Wouldn't it? That not be an agricultural lease.
Well, some of them,
usually.
I mean, like Battlefield, some of them have two plots next door to each other, so
Yeah.
it's still allotments. Some of them do have agricultural tenancies, but when it was very first set up, they're still set up on the system as individual plots still,
Okay,
even when they're farming several of them all at one time. So it's just very difficult. Battlefields is probably the easiest one to measure, but your difficulty with measuring battlefields is what you're going to find is some plots are smaller than others, but you're charging them the same amount. So then, well, you already know that because you can see when you go down there.
yeah.
The question is, do you start charging different rates, or are you going to stick to one? There is a document put together on the drive where it's got when they first did all the plots, the estimated size of them, and then based on how much we're charging the price per acre, I think it's probably just easy to review that, set a price per acre that you want to
Yeah.
charge, and then work off the original sizes rather than measuring them.
Okay.
But yes, it's something that open spaces still need to look at.
And property might get done in the school holidays.
Yeah.
One of the
If we're going to increase the rent, we have to do it, we have to give them so much notice, don't we?
Yeah, by September.
That needs to be agendaed for our next meeting really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that we can start to get a price per acre sorted out.
I think if you double check that document just to make sure it's right, and then just send that out to open spaces and say, can they review this before, and choose a price per acre, then we'll go.
Good. Thank you very much. And then
Cemeteries, there's just a couple that I will chase. Everything's up to date on that one. And sales ledger, I think there was only one. Yeah, and that's to do with PR and IT. It's calendar sponsorship.
okay.
And it's, I don't know
I
whether.
suspect you won't get it.
No,
Who
I
was that?
don't think,
can't really
they
say.
don't tend to
Can't sign.
do anything,
No.
they don't,
PR.
they may well have said they're going to do it.
Can you
but
read it
I
all?
will be very here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just a calendar, it's not something we need, is it? So,
No.
That's fine.
Well, if we're not going to pay them, we need to credit it on the system, that way clear it.
Raise credit note.
Yeah. Presumably they said yes originally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've had some people who change their mind, haven't we? Already, so.
Oh, sorry. I've just clicked off the screen. Hang on one minute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then it's just
The budget review.
budget, so I think I have to do for budget review.
I'll have to look at your screen because I'm.
All right. So I've done a lot of code changes
Yeah.
because when Realtas was set up, we realised that there was quite a few codes that was coded wrong or made it confusing. So open spaces, there was quite a lot of things to change, and also with events, it wasn't clear.
You've done those two areas, haven't you?
I've
Yeah.
done those two, I've just
Yeah.
got to tweak the Jubilee because there's a crossover with the Jubilee Garden
Yeah.
and Jubilee because of the trees.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, the difficulty is just with the report really, because when it says, like with the horticultural supplies, we spent 1,138, it's saying we've got less funds available, but obviously that money's actually come from earmarks, so we
Yeah.
have got the full
Mm.
amount left, haven't we? Technically.
yeah, so where
Yeah.
you've got on
Yeah.
the very right-hand column for what you're talking about,
From
horticultural
storage,
supplies,
yeah.
you've got 1,138's come from earmark reserves. So that needs to be added to your balance that is left
Yeah.
to give you
Funds
how
back,
much
yeah.
you've got, which is actually means you haven't spent
Mm.
any of your horticultural supplies. Fuel,
Fuel, we're going to be over budget, aren't we?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything we can do about
No.
that, apart from at the end of the year,
Is
release some of the contingency funds to cover it.
that code all okay now? That one?
fuel,
So what it says is
Yeah.
right.
it is,
Okay.
but that's taking into account the red that was bought, so.
Yeah,
Mm.
we still get some money back,
Yeah,
won't we,
yeah.
hopefully. But we're still going to be massively over.
Yeah.
Can't help it, can we?
We're also due some money back from South Holland Internal Drainage Board because I discovered that we were being billed for 2 sites that we don't even own.
Okay.
So they give you 2 years back, so I
Yeah.
think it's about £300-ish you
Okay.
should get back. So that.
Well, it helps, doesn't it? Okay.
So with a higher venues,
Ah,
are we
right.
looking like we're going to be going over with that
Yeah,
one as well?
but this, because I haven't got round to admin yet, so where is hire venues?
Quite early.
Hire venue. So I think I have taken it out, haven't I? Yeah, because I did have originally in there the for the training day, So I've now taken that out.
Of training.
And I put it out of venue hire into training,
Training, yeah.
because it's not
a cost of, yeah, it's not
the
for
hire of
meetings, is it?
venue for meetings. So yes, that is an issue, because some of the outlying
Charge
ones
more.
charge more, and I
Mm.
did approach one, and they just said that's what they charge.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Did they invoice us in the end?
Yes.
We're not really massively overspent that budget though, are we? At the year end.
We've only had 3 months, haven't we?
It depends, I mean, we did say between May and October, didn't we, for going out?
Yeah.
Yeah, we said we'd look at it again in the autumn, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, what we used to do when we did go out, we went to each, well, we went to St Mark's once, the Herne once, and St John's once, in the summer months.
Oh, in a year?
And that, no, yeah, in a year, that was it. So we didn't do any more than that.
Because what have we done at the moment? We've done St Mark's for a start, then we went back to Methodist, then you went to St John's, and then we're back at Methodist again. And then we're looking at either Herne or St Mark's again next month, aren't we?
Well, while we've got low numbers of councillors, surely we can start using this room, can't we?
I suppose your question is how many members of the public and press turn up, that's the only thing, isn't it?
It is,
With a bit of a jiggle, I think.
you could
Squeeze.
make it work. The
Mm.
only thing would be, obviously, with the situation, I mean, at the minute, it's not a problem, because you can have your ventilation, you can have your
Mm.
doors and whatever.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you get into the winter months, if it's into the autumn, and if
Mm.
it's cramming too many people in here and you've got COVID going up again, you
Yeah.
could have a problem.
Mm.
So we may,
But again,
Yeah,
we're not going to be
yeah.
massively overspent, are we?
no,
No, I think it's something to look, because if you move this table back a bit, then you've got enough room down that end for people.
It's all a bit cosy.
It's very cosy, yeah. And for
We look at
the
the
£30
meeting
the
now.
Methodist charge, is it
Yeah,
worth, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
if it were me, I would look at, if you can get one at the Herne, and then I would leave it for this year,
Yeah.
and then
Go back.
try and plan it out so that you know what your costings are going to be for next year, and then
Yeah.
at least you're more on par. At least you've done what you needed to do. You've gone everywhere
Yeah.
to try and encourage people to come,
Mm.
and then you can plan it out better next
Well,
year.
also October, we set our meeting dates, don't we? And if we can plan which months we're going out well in
Mm.
advance, then,
It does make sense.
yeah,
I mean, it would be nice to put up on the notice boards the whole year.
the whole year,
where
where
we're
yeah, where you're
going
going to be, yeah.
Have you not got that? That document is available.
Yeah, but the problem is we keep changing where,
Well, it says
This year.
the venue to be confirmed.
yeah,
Dates.
that's the only difficult bit, don't
I know there's some difficulty in contacting Herne.
Yeah.
you? Yes, we're
I
still
think
having a
Carol's
bit of
been
difficulty.
trying.
That's the only issue, but.
Best thing would be next week when we
Yeah,
have
that's what
another
I said.
meeting, trying to speak to her directly.
I didn't know whether Karen has the
No.
email address or not, but
When we do our farmer education,
Okay.
she should be attending that, so.
Okay. Anything else, Jane, of concern?
I don't think so. Nothing else seems to spring out, say, except for fuel, which
Okay. We'll move on then.
we're not gonna, can't change it, can we?
No.
We'll just have to stop cutting the grass and then have to people on grass
they were wild
everywhere.
areas.
I mean, that is something as well, when we are looking at our budgeting, obviously, if we're going out for tender, that's going to impact on what we're going to need to budget.
Well,
Because
it
their
may
prices
be
are going to go up, aren't they?
your number
Got to.
of cuts are going to have to, I mean, I know people don't like it, but district cut less to budget better, don't they? It is something you're going to have to think about.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They don't do that bit on Larson's Drive now as often as they used to. They
No.
won't now, it's about that high when they come out.
Mhm.
Just seeing, which just is proves the point, our cemetery fees, at Hallgate, that you can see, we're we've got 54% of cemetery fees and we're only
Oh,
in June.
and so we've had a lot.
June, April,
That's the
May,
other thing with the duck food machine. That's not bringing in quite as much money.
Is it
now,
never
so-
used as it was now?
No.
There seems to be a lot of people buying their own food and feeding the
Yeah.
ducks, but it's still bringing in.
It's done, money, but just not quite as beginning.
No.
It was a novelty first year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Okay,
things are pretty much on target.
good job.
Mhm.
Item 22, to receive an update on the zero-turn mower purchase. Seems to be going on forever and a day, doesn't it?
Any decision been made?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
we
has.
made one, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we've released the £1,000, it's the 195, didn't we? We said that they can have out of their existing funds. And we've asked Jan to go ahead and order it, and she has done that, I believe, on Friday.
No, I've reserved it, but I
Okay.
haven't had confirmation that it's reserved, so
Yeah.
you know it can't go to anyone else.
Right.
So are we going to send an email out to the relevant committee
Yeah,
and
Explaining.
staff and basically say this is what we have
Yeah.
yeah,
Because it's pretty much
decided
that
or
the
what we would propose?
the
Yeah.
option that was
Are you
proposed at the
happy?
last full council, the extraordinary one, was not available. And they didn't have anything under £9,000
No.
available.
so we've tried, haven't we?
Yeah, and the other second-hand ones that we've been looking at, by the time you add in the other bits and pieces that they need and the fuel cost to go get it, and if anything goes wrong with it, it's the same price.
Mm.
So you may as well buy a new one with warranty.
We've done the right decision,
So,
I think.
yeah,
This open spaces still need to discuss what they're going to do with that Komodo that needs repairing, because to me,
Yeah, it needs to go on the next agenda, but I mean logically there is no point having three
we've got
pieces of
two
equipment when you've got two members of staff.
haven't we? So
But we
that's
can,
Karen and Jan are going to go out.
we can discuss
Why
it,
don't?
because I mean if you are able to sell it for a reasonable price,
Yeah.
then that'll offset,
Yeah,
and then you can start building up your reserve
Well,
ready
you-
for when
yeah.
you do want to purchase
Yeah.
another
your
piece
problem
of
is you've
equipment.
used pretty much all your reserves now for the zero turn.
yeah,
So we've got to think about replenishing that,
mm.
if anything does need.
Yeah. I think the
No.
chair of open spaces needs to be advised that whatever proceeds we do get aren't going to be available to spend this year
Yeah,
at the current moment in time.
yeah, because we're only a short way through the year, we need to
Yeah.
make sure we've got stuff available.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I know they're quite keen on buying this football net, aren't they?
Mm.
Which is quite expensive.
Which is something that you mentioned today, Jan, if we want to utilise money from another pot where
Yeah,
it's not allocated, that needs to be agreed at full council
Yeah.
to do that.
yeah. Because we've read the budgets at full council, haven't
Yeah.
we? So we're going to move them.
And I
We
mean,
can do the
something I've suggested is that if committees want to, if they're looking at spending something that's not budgeted for, then they really need to review that document that gets brought to finance with the budget.
Yeah, Well, Mark
Propose
has-
how they're going to spend it, and then that can be agreed at full council
Yeah.
to move that money across.
yeah.
Um,
Mark has asked me if we can have a meeting with me in school term time and you,
Mhm.
just to discuss budgets, how they work and
Mhm.
what you can spend and what you can't. So I'm quite happy sitting with him and telling him that.
Yeah.
I seem to be in his good books at the moment, so.
Mhm.
So will you do that email, Jen? To open spaces,
Yeah.
please? I quite like saying in the email that there's no more debate on this now. We've
Well, it
reserved
needs
one
to
and
get
we're
done,
on it.
because if not, we're going to be ending the grass cutting season
Yeah.
without purchasing zero turn. And the
Exactly.
whole idea was that we can then see how that's working, so
Yeah.
we know if there's anything else we need for next
Exactly,
year, we can actually
exactly.
budget for it.
But also it means that, because again, you've got your decision around whether you're going to go out for contract next year. And
Yeah.
that's going to be happening very soon,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we've got
that's
to
a big
budget
one.
for it for
Yeah.
next year. So really, that discussion needs to be happening in September and no later,
Yeah.
so that we can build it into the budget
So we
for
need to
the
know.
following year.
Exactly.
So we need to know
Mm.
if they're able to take back any other areas
Yeah.
based on how much time they've gained.
Well, we
by
can see,
using
can't we?
this other
So if they
equipment.
start using the zero turn by the end of July,
Mm-hmm.
at the latest, you've got all
2
of
full
August and all of
months.
September, haven't you, to
Yeah.
work out how more efficient it's
And
going
I
to
think we need like from an average week from them, how long does it take them to cut each area?
be. Yeah,
And then we know whether they can fit in another area of
Yeah.
similar size
yeah.
or not.
Good.
Yeah.
Item 23 then, to discuss the projects for the year 23-24. So I've sent the spreadsheet out to all the chairs of the committees,
Mm-hmm.
and not had a response apart from Market. But then
I don't
open
think
space
it's
is going to be the
actually-
big area anyway.
Has it been discussed at, I mean, I know we discussed it
Nobody's
at
discussed it.
PR19.
I mean, we've had a vague conversation at planning
Yeah.
around the chapels.
Okay.
But obviously, until we can get in there and actually look at it and see what the next thing would be,
Yeah.
we can't really cost it out.
I
I
know.
would say open spaces is going to be your biggest,
It
isn't it?
is, yeah. 'Cause
Um,
we discussed, you know, on IT, didn't we? And it's,
Yeah.
I don't really think they're going to be doing budget next year.
It depends on how we go with the CCTV.
Yeah,
And then just, it's the little bits, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
making sure we've got all of the new things we've purchased this year, the ongoing cost for them.
yeah.
The only thing that you are, I mean, you've got the toilets in open spaces, you're doing the trial, so I suppose it depends on how that
Yeah.
goes as to whether there's anything you want to budget for.
But they're going to put metal gates up.
They've got 2 spare metal gates that
In
can
addition
go on
to
the
the,
outside, so
Yeah.
it will stop people kicking the door.
Okay.
But yeah, but that's later on than that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, nothing else on that one then. Item 24, to discuss internal audit options for 22-23. So I think Jan and I are both in agreement that the auditors we use them at the moment, and that we've used for a few years, I believe, historically.
This is a second. I have asked them for a price for next year, but
Yeah.
my emails don't get answered.
Okay. So that's part of the problem we're having, aren't we, is that they're not responding and,
I
Rather
think
than-
it is a large amount of work because we are a bigger council, isn't it? It's not,
oh yeah,
so,
yeah. But you know, they're not paid. The problem is staff at his end, isn't it? He's
Mm.
nobody helping him, so he's struggling to manage all of his processes. So
Mm-hmm.
Jan shared a document the other day, didn't you, from the Links County Council?
Loud.
Sorry. So I think it's an option that we need to look at rather sooner than later till we change auditors.
So Loud offer internal audits then?
Yeah, and to be fair, they're cheaper than what we're paying, and they'll give a 5% discount.
So we'll be in electric banding 9 then, won't we?
9, yeah. So that's 9 hours, yeah, so that's 350. Then we've got allotments, so it's 20. Burials is 20. What I don't,
We don't know about the charity.
no,
I think you would need to include that because you're going to have to.
And
at
I
some
would say
point.
community buildings because we've got that many properties, to be quite honest. You're probably going to have to include
Yeah.
that.
I don't know whether the allotments and burials is assuming there's only one site. And we've
Yeah.
got quite a lot.
I think it'd be useful to get a proper quote, that's right, proper quote from them, because we do have a lot, don't we, to be honest. And although technically our electorate is in the band 9, the costing is probably going to come out more like band 10 plus, isn't it, really, because we've got a lot of stuff.
Excuse me.
Have we got, I mean, obviously we can get a quote from them, but obviously go back to who we're using, we've already asked them for a pricing for next year. Do we know of any other parish large parish council or town council, and can we ask them who they use?
Yeah, last time when we went to the current one, I went to all the local ones and I was only given 2 names. The same 2 names kept cropping up. One was somebody that was just in Norfolk who wouldn't take on any more because everybody was, without mentioning names, the previous one we had did everybody.
Yeah.
So when he retired,
Yeah, everybody
was stuck. So one of the 2 names I was given, one wasn't taking on anymore, especially a parish of our size because of the work involved. And the other one was the one we're currently with now.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm just thinking
So-
some more outside of the area.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the bigger ones
Yeah.
that you've got contacts with now
Yeah.
through your training,
Yeah.
and just see, because if they're using a bigger company maybe that's got the capacity, maybe they might be interested.
Yeah.
Because as well, you need to be asking people that have got a similar size set up to what we've got, because it's a completely different entity when you're just dealing with a small parish council.
Well, if you're looking at fleet, compared to
Exactly,
us,
it's
hell of a difference, isn't it?
not the same, and so the sort of people that are taking on lots of those smaller ones, that they can do lots of the smaller ones, but they're not going to want a lot of big ones.
No, of course not.
And that's where you're going to come unstuck.
It's also the type of audit, because when you go over that 200,000 income,
Yeah.
then you have completely different audit and set of rules
Mhm.
in the petitioner's guide.
it's worth having a look around anyway. Item 25, to receive an update on banking. As you all know,
card.
I know, yeah. So we can now bank at the post office,
Good.
thanks to Jan's hard work.
Have we tried it yet?
Yes, but there is one drawback.
No.
So I asked Karen to do it on the 30th, but because it's paid in through the post office, it doesn't credit our accounts for the next day. So at the end of the month, I'll have to make sure I do it 2 days before
Yeah.
the end of the month, as
Mhm.
opposed from the last day. But
Yeah.
that's the only.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
so
can go
it-
all the
yeah.
way to Spalding.
Oh gosh, it's only down to the co-op, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
Mhm.
a good thing done. And then finally, item 26, confirm date and venue for the next meeting. It should be Monday the 1st of August at 5 o'clock at Coomera Chambers.
We should be able to move it earlier.
Yes, we
Yes.
should.
Oh, it's holiday, isn't it?
Holidays,
So can we suggest 1400 again? I like
there
that.
should be no reason why it couldn't happen.
No.
Yeah. So I won't be here, so Karen's taking that one.
Mhm.
Oh, right.
Obviously better for her as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that Monday?
It is.
So is she working the whole week then? Or, well, but yeah, we'll discuss that.
We'll just, I don't know, because I'm back on the Wednesday.
Okay.
I think for the Monday, yes, you will be,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah. Makes sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Especially spot meeting. Okay.
Lovely. I close the meeting then. Camera off.
Mhm.